All right, what's up, buddy?
Hey man, holding out all right, doing good.
Yeah, it's because of all the things going on your end, and then my summer visitation schedule. It's been a little bit.
It has been a little bit, not gonna lie.
So before we get into it, two things. One, I got basically I had a long weekend sprung on me out of nowhere, so I'm going to deposit my check now. So in just a minute, I'm gonna mute my microphone uh, while I'm dealing with my bank stuff. So I'm gonna leave you to keep the audience entertained.
But that's the most fun part.
Well, I don't think the audience needs to hear my banking details. So
Oh, of course they need them. What are you talking about?
anyway, my routing number is. Uh, but yeah, so we've got a topic to talk about. But before we dive into that, I want to talk about the Steam Summer Sale. So, what all have you gotten in the Steam Summer Sale so far?
Okay, well, I told like as I told you like a few days ago, I got the Alan Wake American Nightmare because well, I haven't played it. And I want to see what's up there since before I even think of getting to, I kind of want to get the whole story.
Yeah.
Uh, two. Oh yeah, Slay the Princess. We should recommend it so highly. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get it. And then like three Metroidvanias, which look cute, so I want to play them.
So, as far as Slay the Princess goes, how are you liking it so far?
It's pretty interesting. I was, I mean, I knew it was a text. It's more of a text-based adventure, but I was surprised by how many choices you have.
Yeah, and like as you go on, like I'm not gonna spoil anything, obviously, but
Oh,
as you go
please.
on, the amount of pathways gets absolutely insane. And I remember like getting like towards the later portion of the game, I was like just this wall of text. It's like I don't know what to do.
So many
Like,
choices, so little time.
and there were some choices where I was like, I didn't even think of that as being a possible option here.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah, you talking about games that I've reviewed that yeah, as far as Slay the Princess, I actually took some of your recommendations and bought the Thaumaturge and uh, Sovereign Syndicate because, oddly enough, they were in a bundle deal on Steam.
That I mean, awesome. I called it Leo deal. But dude, that's awesome. Those are some great games. Like you're gonna have
Yeah,
a blast.
I got both of them for $35, which is pretty good
That is a good deal.
because I'm pretty sure normally the Thaumaturge runs for around that much.
Yeah, pretty.
And
I'm pretty sure.
I kind of went ham on this Steam sale because uh, I recorded a solo episode where I talked about my trouble with Kingdom Hearts. I
Yeah.
refunded that game, and then I had some Steam credit already, and then I had also sold my PlayStation Portal for GameStop trading credit. So I had even more. Like I had so much Steam money. So I I, I got Graveyard Keeper, which I've always heard really good things about that one. I got Sunhaven. I went ahead and got Naruto Crash the latest Ultimate Ninja Storm game, the Connections one.
Yeah.
Uh, what else? Sonic Frontiers. It was $20. I finally caved and got that.
Oh man, that's still on my to-do list.
What else did I get? I got like a bunch of. I got two SteamWorld games because they were like $1 and $2 a piece. So like that just seemed like too good of a deal to pass up. Emily has been wanting to play Inside and Limbo, and she's never played those games before. And Inside was like $1.99, and Limbo was like 70 cents.
Why are you spending so much on her?
Well, I like to spoil my wife.
I'm noticing that. Noticing that.
Little does she know there's a Happy Meal waiting on her when she gets home. Uh, yeah. The Trails games that I'm always talking about. They have the newest game in the franchise actually comes out on Friday, so I went ahead and bought that. Which I've got a bone to pick with that franchise. They are so slow with localizing their games. This game came out like March of last year.
What's another game?
It's called Legend of Heroes: Trails Through Daybreak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Legendary
it came
Heroes.
out in it came out in Japan a while ago, and I thought this was a game like because Trails Through Reverie came out last year, and it was like the conclusion of this saga they've been building up for I'm pretty sure I've called like we talked about it on the podcast when it came out. It's like the Avengers Endgame of this series, where like all the storylines get brought together, and you get these massive roster of playable characters, and it's a great series. And like this is like the fresh storyline where they're starting a new arc.
Yeah, I remember you. I remember you gushing on that.
Yeah, so it's from what I can tell, it's the same gameplay style, but it's like way more modernized. And
Interesting.
I'm struggling to think if there's anything like I got a bunch of like obscure games that like I saw like a TikTok where they were talking about like these are the hidden gems on this Steam sale, and like there's this game called The Chant. There's a game called Titan Chaser, and they were like more of like supernatural horror experiences. I think that's all I got. I think that encompasses all I got.
Yeah, you did go ham, but it sounds like a good time.
Oh, it's going to be an extremely good time because what I also did was I put all those games on my Steam OS on my ROG Ally on that dual boot partition I did. Oh,
Yeah.
that just reminded me. There's the horror Tales of the Wind, which it's like a 2 hour horror game, and it's got a really interesting premise. Like right now, like the storyline is that you basically go to this winery because I forget how they set it up, but like the key to an illness is located inside this wine's recipe. And you go to the winery because you just need a bottle of wine to make the cure for this disease, and like the winery is completely deserted when you get there. And so far, what I've been able to like some kind of plague came through, and it's a weird one, but I'm really enjoying it so far.
It does sound very fun.
And and that just jostled my memory. Deep Rock Survivors, which is have you ever heard or played of Deep Rock Galactic?
No, I know I heard of it, but I haven't played them.
Yeah, so basically, Deep Rock Galactic is like Left 4 Dead, but dwarves, and you're going through like these different planets, and you're mining stuff and all that good stuff. But Deep Rock Survivors is they took that formula of that world, I should say, and they turned it like they gave it like a Vampire Survivors coat of paint. So every level is like every run is separated into 5 levels, from what I can tell. I haven't got past the first run yet. Well, okay, I got close, but then Steam deleted my save for some reason. Uh,
Oh,
and basically, you have a set amount of objectives that you have to do for every level. And once you're done with those objectives, you have 30 seconds to get to the drop pod, and that brings you to the next part of the level. And between each run, you can like do permanent upgrades, but and then uh, as you go and you level up, you get more and more upgrades for guns and stuff like that. Really, really good time. I'm really thoroughly enjoying this game.
good man, good.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and start entertaining the audience because I'm almost to the bank and I don't want to start the topic of the show until we get there. So I'm gonna cut my mic for a second, and yeah, you go ahead and have a ham time.
Okay, so since Doug is no longer talking, we're just gonna give out his personal information and location. So to find out where he lives, just give me a message. I'm kidding. No, we'll just talk about more about the games I bought. The two, well, two of them, two of my Metroidvanias are the Momodora games, which I always like found little videos for these games, and it just kind of looks so kind of silly because it's the game where like you like you're a little anime girl, and you just kind of like fighting like giant women, and it's kind of funny, kind of weird, but it's okay. Let's the older one. I'm finding it's a little. hardcore, at least for the max difficulty that they let me choose at the beginning, because some enemies are still killing me in one hit, and I've been finding as much stuff as I can. So that's been interesting. The second one I started playing a little bit. It's just such an amazing upgrade from just in general, from artwork to pause menus and just how the systems they have in place. They even have stamina, which surprised me, but nonetheless, it was really surprised me. And the next one is from I don't I don't know if this starts an anime or a game. It's the Toho games. It's called Luna Nights. I'm sorry, and again, really good Metroidvania. It the art style really reminds me of really really old. I want to say not Genesis. Well, I guess Genesis games. Because I just kind of remember Pokey and Rocky. But yeah, a great movement, great skills, powers. It's I'm hoping to have some fun with those games because I love Metroidvanias. And yeah, well, other than that, I don't want to spoil our main topic since he has been hit. Doug has been hiding it so well up to now. I'm sure it's going to be in the title anyways, but you know how it is. Let's see. What else have I? Oh, I finally went through Journey a few months ago, a few weeks ago. I gotta say, it's really as breathtaking as people make it out to be. It feels it surprised me just how much there was to do. Just like with a very simple concept it has, just how much you can go and do. What else? And I know we didn't talk too much about it, but I also actually I don't remember if we talked about this. Honestly, my memory's been it's been a very busy couple months because, well, my health hasn't been the best thanks to only working nights. But if I didn't talk about it, I played a lot of the Guardians. I beat the Guardians of the Galaxy game. It was really fun. It was really quirky. Uh, I love that it didn't base itself on the movie, and it felt more, well, comic based. And honestly, just love the characters, just how they bounce off of each other. Dialogue did get a little repetitive, sadly, because, well, it happens. And, well, they did make them talk a little bit too much when fighting, and sadly they didn't have as many lines as they would like. So yeah, decent game. Enemies were a little boring sometimes, but what are you gonna do about it? And let's see what else.
It's okay. I'm back.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was listening the whole time. I was like, he's doing very well. Yeah, when I heard you say anyway, Doug's personal information, I was like, this. If I wasn't dealing with a boom teller, I might have been listen here. I can still hear you.
I know you could hear me. That's why I said it.
So, real quick, just a quick story before we get into the topic. I thought about this while I was dealing with a bank teller, and yesterday I stopped to get gas, and while I was getting gas, I hear this absolutely ridiculous noise, but like just a really loud crash, and this guy pulls up at the pump like right next to mine. And I look and I can see that his tire is flat. It's like to the rim. And he said, "Yeah, I must have hit something." And like I turn around and this gas station has an exposed water pipe. He had ran over the water pipe and just water was going everywhere. And then the guy was like, he goes, "Oh man." And I turned around and he said, "I pissed my pants." And sure enough, I looked like I instinctively just looked down and he has covered himself. And it's the only time that I've seen a grown person piss all over themselves.
What a day that man has been having. What a life he must lead.
Yeah, I mean, not only does he have to get a new tire now, but he has to pay for the repairs for that water line.
Oh yeah,
I went
because he makes.
inside to get I went inside to get an energy drink, and the lady behind the counter was so mad. She was like, "Now I can't go use the bathroom. I want to go slash the rest of his tires."
The thing is, he's just being. He was so casual about it. Who
Yeah,
knows
he was
what
just
kind of
like,
life?
like pissing his pants is no big deal to this guy.
Yeah.
Like
Like, what kind of life does he have?
I was talking to people at work about it, and I was like, "You could trust and believe that if I piss my pants, that I'm sitting into my car until somebody can bring me another pair of pants."
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of. I just can't imagine what kind of life that person must lead to. One, have a flat tire, like like maybe it's not the water pipe that he hit that flat in the tire, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's just kind
eh,
of like, how are you so casual about all that? Like, oh man, I pissed my pants. I mean, like, I'll be like,
yeah,
fuck.
I would be sitting in the car like the people working at the gas station would walk down. I was like, "Look, on the DL, I pissed myself, so I'm gonna sit in this car until my wife gets here."
Yeah,
Uh, but
that's a story, man.
speaking of something that beats you down until you piss your pants, we're here to talk about the Elden Ring DLC.
Hell yeah.
So you've been playing it. I am nowhere near the level of being able to play this thing, so I'm gonna let you go off on this.
Okay, well, honestly, it's been kicking my ass hard. Then again, I have not been playing like most like how like well everybody has said like you should start playing it, and by that I mean on like just like a file that hasn't gone to like New Game Plus, because I don't think you've ever gone New Game Plus on any Souls game, have you?
Oh, you're assuming that I haven't even gotten close to beating one.
Fair, but I'm just gonna say health and damage goes up high for enemies, and this DLC hits hard as fuck.
Yeah, I've watched TikToks.
Yeah. So basically, I've been very slowly making my way through fights. I actually managed to get pretty damn far for concerning like how much I had to go through. I gotta say, um, if I remember right, like there were like my biggest issue like enemy movement wise for like bosses in this DLC has been everybody has AOE's out the ass.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, and besides that, I would say like honestly, movement wise, they're pretty. It's been pretty damn fun. It's been other than one boss that honestly they need to fix. It's so bad.
So, is the boss you're talking about? I don't know the name of it. It's a person in a full suit of armor that has like magic blades and stuff.
No,
Okay, not that one.
no,
I
the she was actually pretty. I want to. I'm gonna say easy, but I think I got her second or try. Third try.
I've been seeing a lot of people talking about. There's one boss in the DLC that's just a normal guy with a crossbow, so they didn't like take him seriously. And they said, "Man, when I tell you this boss kicked my ass."
No, the one that's been kicking my ass has been. I mean, that kicked my ass. Honestly, made me like, yeah, this is just not well designed. It's a guy riding a boar.
I think I've heard of the boar. What the one that I for sure heard of is the lion.
Uh, oh yeah, he wasn't too bad. You can be very safe like with his stacks and everything. You can
What
go ham if you have a chance.
Well, it's not necessarily the boss fight itself. It's the lore behind the boss that it's just two men standing up in tandem.
Oh, it is. It's there.
Yeah.
It is like There's a YouTuber I follow that like actually like does like close-ups and like removes layers from enemy models, and it's just two guys, and you can he actually he actually showed like the boss fight with like the layers removed, so it's just you can just see the two guys how they move and everything. It's hilarious.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Elden Ring. Like, it is such an interesting world, but at like like it's like I'm at a zoo. Like, I could see a bunch of cool stuff, but I'll never get to play with it.
Trust me, some stuff is not worth it.
There's I'm gonna have to see if I can find the video, but the final boss. There's this guy that mods some Elden Ring stuff, and
Oh god,
he basically took
what did they mod
Melania
it
and
into?
made her fight the final boss.
Oh, okay, that
Yeah, and I watched them
those
fight,
videos.
and can you hear me?
Come on, I'm waiting. Yeah,
Okay, so basically, yeah, I watched Melania fight the final boss of the DLC, and she just barely edges ahead.
that's not bad. Well, honestly, her life steal is very broken against enemies. Like honest, like honestly, I don't really like the final boss. I still haven't beaten him. Mostly because I kind of feel his attacks are kind of boring.
Well,
Just,
I
I mean,
saw the let me solo her guy. He said that it took him 3 hours to beat him.
oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm not saying it's not like it's hard, but I find it boring because it just kind of feels like phase two. It just kind of feels like yeah, we're gonna like there's an attack where he like sends out like I what can only assume are clones like to attack you, like they hit you like 5 times really fast,
Oh, I would
and
hate that.
it doesn't hit for too much, but just the animation just kind of like feels so lazy. It's just kind of like imagine like somebody shooting a person at you with a sword, and it does a swing, and then like the next one's like before like you stop seeing the last one, it shows up and just hits you again, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
they could have done a little bit better.
So, like lore wise, how are you feeling about the expansion so far?
Lore wise, I've loved it. Um, I've like still very I'm still very divisive. I'm still very like not divisive. I'm still kind of like iffy on like who they chose to be the concert because well we'll we're kind of expecting somebody else, but then again it kind of makes sense. So you know, but honestly, it's my if I have to say anything, there's a lot of places that look like they are more important than they were more important at some point, and they just kind of left them there. And I don't know if like there's gonna be an update to like give them a little bit more importance, or if there's some hidden meaning like we're not seeing yet because it has happened. Um,
Well,
but yeah. Oh, were you saying something?
well, yeah, I was about to say there's also, in terms of just exploring the Elden Ring lore and the world, there is I mean, it's still like nothing's been announced, but there's about at this point, I would say there's a 99% chance there's an Elden Ring adaptation of some form coming.
Oh, I mean, there's the
And
manga, there's the anime that they already announced, and like everybody's talking about the rumors of the movie.
yeah, I was taking the rumors of that movie or the series with like a grain of salt, but then somebody was interviewing George R. R. Martin, and he was being very like, "Oh, an adaptation? Who could have ever heard?" Like, I mean, just being very coy. And I was like, man, we're never getting that next Game of Thrones book. This man will do anything but work on that Game of Thrones book.
Well, don't you remember? He's still playing the. He's probably still playing the DLC. Like he stopped writing the like one of the issues afterwards was he couldn't stop playing Elden Ring.
Like I want to say that he's been like the last Game of Thrones book came out in like 2012, and like every 5 years or so, like I'll Google it's like, hey, what's the deal about book six? And it'll be like, oh yeah, I've got a few more chapters written. I was like, my guy, it's been half a decade.
I mean, it is true. It's true.
At this point, like I want to do another go through of the Game of Thrones books, but I refuse to pick them up again until book six is at least formally announced.
I'm just gonna. I'm. You know what? I'm gonna. It'll be hilarious if like a couple years in the future, George R. R. Martin dies on his will. Oh, by the way, this book has been finished for like years. I just felt like trolling you guys. Good luck.
Dude, at this point, I don't. I this is 100. How old is George R. R. Martin?
I have no idea. He just kind of looks like a can of Fat Santa to me. So
Like I would, if I was a betting man, and you told me that I had to place a bet on the Game of Thrones book series, I would bet that we will never see the end of it. Like I bet that he does not finish it before he dies.
more than likely.
Like he'll be on his deathbed, and he's like, "Oh, I'm writing in the next chapter." And
Yes, he's 75.
yeah, see, we're never gonna get it because I mean, at this point, it's taken him 12. Like it's been 12 years since the last book, I think, and like just going by that metric, like even if he releases the next book in like the next 5 years, more than likely in the next 17 years after that, like we're never gonna get that book.
I don't know. I just like to imagine he was like, "Holy shit, this is way more interesting than what I was writing."
Yeah, I mean, I really think like, to that point where he's like, I just want to write other stuff. Like he's like, I started this awesome series, and now they want me to finish it. And I don't want to do that.
No, can't do that.
You can go watch the excellent ending of the HBO series.
I still haven't watched Game of Thrones or read the books. I just know
Okay, here's
I just know enough people talking about it.
here's the thing about the Game of Thrones books. Uh, 1 through 3 are extremely good. Book 4 is a slog to get through, but still important. And then book 5 is really great. That's what you need to know about the books. The series is really, really good up until about season 6 ends. And then season 7 has good moments. And then season 8 starts really, really strong. I would say like episodes 1 and 2 are really, really good. And then episode 3, you're like, oh. And then it's just, oh no. And it's like increasing levels of oh no until it's over.
Oh man,
But anyway, Elden Ring. So,
yeah. So what do you want to say?
well, I was turning it back over to you so you can keep talking about the DLC.
Okay, no. I mean, I was going to, but I didn't know if you had like a topic you wanted to just like go into.
I do not.
Okay. Well, a lot. Just like to be fair to like everybody. A lot of people, like as you've mentioned, have been downvoting it to hell because it's too hard. Well, you know what they say: get good.
Yeah, I was about to say it, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah. No, if you guys interrupt me to say get good, I'm happy. You're getting the spirit. You're getting the
Noted.
vibes.
Noted.
If I ever complain about a game and like about difficulty wise, you can just like scream out get good.
Well, it's funny you say that because when you were talking about those Metroidvanias while I was working at the bank, you said that was the one that was a little bit too hardcore. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to that, but yeah, no, the other people who are like complaining about it is like they're having performance issues, which is rather common with FromSoft games. So that is something important that needs to be discussed as well.
Yeah, they're so bad that Bloodborne is still not on PC.
Don't remind me.
Dude, like I am looking forward for the one day where we wake up and they've announced it for PC because the creator has said that he wants to put it on PC, but it's out of his hands.
It is because Sony has the rights, and Sony can't. Like, I'm pretty sure you're gonna get a Bloodborne for PS5 before we get a Bloodborne for PC. Like the
Dude,
main reason why.
I've given up hope on any other form of Bloodborne.
Uh
But I tell you what, there could be like if they ever do a state of play where they drop that, they will win over so many fans.
oh, they will. It's Bloodborne. Like, uh, to be fair, it's like I want to say it's the most beloved of the
I would agree
well,
with you.
yeah, it's one of the more beloved ones. Sekiro, I feel it's real. I feel Sekiro is a more polished game, but it's not as loved.
Yeah, whenever I hear people talking about Souls games, Bloodborne is never too far from the conversation.
Yeah, I mean Sekiro also like has a rather different like playstyle and everything. So I mean I can understand people not mentioning it, but yeah. And well, then Elden Ring came out and like we got like the influx of all the new people starting to play. So they usually say like the first Souls games you play is the one you love most. So a lot of people starting off with Elden Ring wouldn't surprise me like it's like their favorite from now on.
Yeah, and that's been the thing with not just Souls games, but you. What I found is that like when it comes to like Persona, whatever one people play first, that's their favorite because like a lot like how Souls games, like a lot of them have, like when you look at Dark Souls compared to Sekiro and Bloodborne, they all have different combat styles. And Persona is very much they're very color based, and a lot of them have just like all the Persona games have a completely different cast of characters.
Yeah,
And a lot of people say that Persona 5 Royal is their favorite, and it is very high up for me. But there's something about Persona 4 Golden because that's the first one I played that is will always be special. And now that I think about that, it is 11.99 in the Steam store, and I'm going to buy it when I get home.
that's good. I was if we want to like talk about something that's also a lot more most commonly played game, Pokemon as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's a reason why a lot of people who started off with Gen 1 are usually talking like, yeah, Gen 1 is the best.
And like Gen 1, like that is what I started on. But I can objectively, like, I like the Gen 1 structure more, but I like the Gen 3 Pokedex more.
That's fair. And like I said, like I like Gen 5. For a long time, Gen 3 was my favorite, but I started off with Gen 2.
Now, Gen 5, is that
So
black and white?
yeah, still my favorite area of the game.
See, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Pokédex, but I was a big fan of the story. I loved it. I loved that it was it was a more mature story.
You know what I like? You know, I like the Pokédex a little bit more because it made you feel like this is its own region. Like if
Because they were all
I don't
new,
know if you
right?
remember, yeah, for the first part of the game, yeah, it's all new Pokemon.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
then like after post game, you can start getting like you can find Pokemon from the previous generations, and I thought that's a nice way to like make you feel like it's a new region. It's not the same as like um I don't know let's say Johto, where you could find a lot of Kanto Pokemon as well.
And honestly, I wish that they would do that again in a sense because especially with X and Y and moving forward, there's been a lot of Kanto pandering, is what I call it, where I feel like every game there
There's
is a
always Kanto
there
pandering.
like I remember in I think it was X and Y actually. They gave you a Gen 1 starter like very quickly. Like I would say like before the first gem even.
Yeah, that was XY, and it's it's when you get to Lumia City. I think that's I don't know if it was second. I don't know if I want to say it's after the first. I don't know if it's at the first or second gym, if I remember right.
It's got to be fairly early on
Because
because
it is very fairly. Leon. I think it's after the first gym. Because it's like when you first get to Lumiose. And I know you had to go to like through a little town with a gym before you had to go to Lumiose.
Yeah, and like honestly, like I understand the pandering of like previous generations because like you show a Pokemon that's like somebody's favorite, and they're like that makes them want to gravitate towards the game. At the same time, I wish that there was a how they did with Black and White, where it's you play through the game, it's all new Pokemon, and then after you beat the Elite Four, you can go back and start collecting the legacy Pokemon.
Yeah.
And for the love of God, stop the gimmicks. I don't want a Terra extra raid Pokemon. You had it right with Mega Evolutions. Go back to Mega Evolutions and stay there.
Okay, I lost you at the end, by the way. But gimmick wise, like the only one I kind of I want returned is Mega Evolutions because it honestly was kind of interesting, like lore wise as well.
Can you hear me again?
I can hear you.
Okay. It's funny that you say that because that is exactly what I said when the signal cut out. I said,
Okay, good.
uh, yeah, I said they need to go back to Mega Evolutions because that's when they had it right and they need to stay there.
Yeah, and honestly, like it was a pretty much a letdown when I played Ultra Sun. I mean, when I played Sun and Moon, and they made it so fucking annoying to collect stones,
Yeah,
and that's when I knew
I
like
did.
they didn't want to like go on with it.
I didn't care for Sun and Moon. I played Sun and Moon, but I never played Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Uh,
Trust me, it's the same game.
yeah, I just didn't like. I saw it from afar, and I was like, that just does not look like something I'd want to play. And keep in mind that allegedly I did not pay any money for Sun and Moon, and like I was not going to allegedly pay money for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And even the fact that I was playing this game allegedly for free could not bring me to play it.
Trust me, it's honestly kind of disappointing because it's basically like Sun and Moon Special Edition. Like, I mean, no, not even Special Edition, Director's Cut, because it just adds a couple scenes here and there, and like a fight here and there, changes well, like a little thing here, a little thing there. It does not feel like its own like unique kind of story, like you know how usually like the third games, like there's a third game like kind of combines both stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does not feel like that at all. Like, say what you want, like let's say Emerald, because
Okay.
Does a really good job of mixing like the Team Aqua and Team Magma stories.
Yes.
Then, then for like another specific, like you could go Platinum, which it doesn't change the stories, but it makes just the right calls to like make it feel unique. Like Giratina appearing out of nowhere, it's a mindfuck.
And don't forget Crystal.
You know, I never played Crystal,
Okay, so
but I
Pokemon
know it changes
Crystal.
a lot.
Yeah, I remember when I first played. I had just finished Pokemon Silver when Pokemon Crystal came out, and I remember getting Crystal and having new Pokemon in the starting area, and it blew my freaking mind.
That's what happened.
And then I mean, Pokemon Yellow had that too, where it was just completely different, where it followed the anime instead of the game storyline.
Yeah, but there's usually like something, you know,
Yeah,
something to like make it feel different. If you want to go for my favorites, Black and White 2, because they literally continue the story.
I'll get there eventually.
Eventually, take your time. There's no rush. But yeah, it just Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon just felt like we're let down. Like the only cool thing is like, oh, you can fight Red and Blue once.
Yeah, I
Like you have to choose.
and see like going was the next game after Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon was that Sword and Shield?
Yeah, and that's when I stopped playing. No, it was Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee.
I
The,
don't count those.
I wouldn't either, but yeah.
So Sword and Shield had interesting premises. Uh, I liked that the gym leaders were like these actual events where like you went out and like into like a crowd, kind of like how they did like the Elite Four in the anime. Like I liked that, and I like that you get introduced to the legendary almost immediately. Uh,
All right.
and just the fact it was the first real console Pokemon game was well. No offense to Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness because but they weren't like the full Pokemon experience. Uh,
You don't know what you're talking about. Well, yeah, it's fine. But like, what I loved about XD and Coliseum is that they felt like little stories. That's
yeah,
what was awesome about them.
and plus, like, there was like this really cool thing of like you're this edgy guy, and you've got like your starting Pokemon is Umbreon and Espeon,
That's only
and
Coliseum, but yes,
yeah, that's what. But yeah, and then like XD. I mean, we don't need. I don't need to tell you how cool Shadow Lugia is.
it's pretty badass. Like the whole thing, like even Pokemon Go was like recognized. Like, yeah, that was kind of cool. So yeah, let's just put it in our game.
Speaking of Pokemon, have I talked? I'm pretty sure I talked to you about DK Oldies, right?
Yeah, you told me about PK Oldies.
Okay, so I watched this TikTok that blew my mind. This guy, he pretty much ordered every mainline Pokemon game from them, uh, like all the GBA, all the all the Game Boy, all the DS games, and even the GameCube games.
Nice.
I think he even got Stadium 1 and 2, and he like every DK Oldies order that gets like filmed, they usually give like a gift, and like the gift usually scales to how much money you spend.
Yeah.
And the gift they gave him was the Pokewalker from Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and,
Oh,
and the comments were like, "My man just spent 1.5K and got a Pokewalker."
dude, that Pokewalker was so good.
It was, but he deserved way more
Yeah,
because I
because you get
think
the little
Pokemon,
statue that comes with the game.
yeah, XD Gale of Darkness. I'm pretty sure if you get a boxed copy of that nowadays, you're looking at least $200 plus.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But like,
Po-
I'll never forget getting that game on like, not even knowing that game was out, and we had evacuated for one of the hurricanes, and my mom took me to the mall, and we walked through GameStop. I saw that it was out. Now I begged her to get it, and she let me get it because there was nothing for me to do. And I played this game in our camper because I mean that was literally all we had was just sitting around in the camper because we couldn't go home.
yeah, man, those were some good games. That's a good time for Pokemon. I want to say.
Oh yeah, like that era, like we like it. I think it was before Pokemon got what's the word I'm looking for? Annualized, I guess what you would say.
Oh yeah, the Call of Duty effect.
Because I mean now I think this is the first year that we're not getting a Pokemon game in a very long time.
Yeah, and honestly, like it hasn't felt the same in a long time. Like honestly, it's ever since it went 3D, it just kind of lost its way. I feel because X and Y was interesting, but it just felt so short, and it just kind of felt like purposeless.
Now, what I will say is that there is one Pokemon game that did feel right, and that was Legends Arceus. That game was incredible, and
You know, that's fair.
I really like that they are going back to that IP with Pokemon Z art, Legend Z, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't like X and Y, but I did really like X and Y. I think it was just because it was in the 3DS era where I was bringing my 3DS with me everywhere because of the Street Pass feature, and it was the first 3D like Pokemon game that was on a handheld, and I think like all those combinations, and it was the only time that I was somewhat competitive in Pokemon because I was playing online against other players.
What? You weren't competitive when I used my team of Arceus?
No, I wasn't competitive at that time, but uh, But and then I remember I had one team that I had just that was like completely OP. Like if I was playing against one of my friends and they were beating me, and they're like, "Oh, you can't beat me," I would pull out this completely unfair team, and they would get really mad at me.
It happens.
Like I want to say that my team was Blaziken, Charizard, Mewtwo, Articuno, and I can't remember what the other two were.
Stealth Rock could kill you, man.
Say what now?
Stealth Rock will kick your ass.
I don't remember what the other two were. But
But
honestly,
yeah,
I never went up against a team with Stealth Rock.
yeah. That trust me. When Stealth Rock, when people who play competitive usually have Stealth Rock because it's so OP against like Charizard, for example, loses like half his HP to Stealth Rock.
Hell yeah, dude! You know what Emily and I did last night? Just
Um,
for just the fact we were bored, we allegedly downloaded Pokemon Stadium, like the original, and played
oh,
it on the
that's
Steam
nice.
Deck. And it was like she at first she was just playing the mini games, but then we just put together a random team, and we thought that I was because you remember you get to pick your own team like of any Pokemon except for Mew and Mewtwo and
Yeah,
Stadium One, and she picked her team. And what I thought I was doing is I thought I was picking my team, and we are gonna just swap the controller back and forth. But what I
yeah.
ended up doing accidentally was I gave the CPU, just an absolutely OP team designed to kick her team's ass.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
And in her defense, she could have won if she would have listened to me more, and if she would have. And the other team was just spamming substitute. Uh, and then when it wouldn't use substitute, she had the most awful luck with misses, and the other team
Ooh.
had just an incredible luck of critical hits. And like there were just points where I would say, "Listen, you need to use this attack," and she's like, "No, I'm not going to use this attack." Like I think at one point she used what did she use? She used a fire. No, she used thunder wave. When she should have used it. She could have used an attack to finish off the other Pokemon, and she used thunder wave. And I was like, "You deserve the death that's about to come upon you."
Yeah. No, Thunderwave's like a beginning the fight kind of move.
Yeah, and she used it when she could have delivered a finishing blow, and I was like, "You deserve what's coming."
Oh man,
Oh
yeah.
man.
Pokemon, Pokemon Colors. Those Pokemon Stadium games were fun. I love the mini games.
See, I never had Pokemon Stadium 1. I only had Pokemon Stadium 2. So, like, going back, it was really cool to see what that game was like.
My cousin had them. That's why I actually managed to play them a good bit.
Well, I'm actually getting close to my destination, so this is as good a spot as any to end the episode. So, yeah, thanks for joining me, buddy, and thanks to everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time for Doug's private information.